Thank you, Paivan. This is a very good question. And, recently, 2 years ago, there was this news article about an island in the Pacific Ocean where they found, thousands of toothbrushes, plastic toothbrushes that had probably Indonesia and found its way onto the beach. One of the there are many big issues, but one of the big issues these days is sustainability from an ecological front, on many fronts. You have carbon dioxide, you have global warming, you have increased amount of methane in the atmosphere, and you have plastic pollution. There is a lot of plastic pollution of food chains, including in the ocean. There are microplastics that are found even in the deepest part of the Pacific Ocean. And, most of us eat plastic because the microplastics, probably about at least one credit card worth of microplastics we eat every year. If you consume seafood, maybe you consume 2 credit cards worth of microplastics. But this is dangerous because at this stage we don't even know what the long-term impact of this is on health, human health, and in the health of our biodiversity in the sea and on land. So this is a dangerous thing. Historically, we were not aware of the risk posed by this kind of packaging. So, the interesting thing, if you look at it, let's look at it from two kind of dimensions. One, I teach sustainability in the Indian School of Business, which is where I teach, and in London Business School. So one of the subjects I teach is sustainability. Down here, normally when you look at sustainability, you can divide your universe, your scope, into 3 scopes. Scope 1 is what you control directly, what is in your factory. In your own perusahaan, your own pabrik, you control that. Scope 2 is what is upstream, what your suppliers are giving you. And there you have some influence. You can influence them, do things like this, don't do things like that, and so on. And scope 3 is what happens after you have sold it. After you have sold it, then what do customers do? What do end consumers do? How do they recycle the product? How do they use it? How do they throw away, dispose of the waste? So there are 3 scopes. And across many industries, the estimate is that scope 3, which is after you have sold the product, actually accounts for something like 90%, 90%, the seluruh greenhouse gas emission and ecological impact across total value chain. Kemudian, what can we do about it? That is the question. So of course we have to work on all 3 scopes at the same time. So the traditional formula is the reduce, reuse, recycle, the 3 R's formula. R, reduce, reuse, recycle. So in this, in the context specifically that you are asking about plastic packaging, the first question to ask is, can we set up some kind of a program to actually have a reverse logistics supply chain where we collect these plastics and find some way to reprocess them? That's the first question to ask. And there are some companies. I have seen some companies, even in India, I have seen some companies that are collecting used shampoo bottles and they are reprocessing them into virgin plastic. And they in their factory, which there's 0 water emissions and is completely circular design, they get virgin plastic, which they sell for shampoo companies to make again fresh bottles. There is a methodology available. But the catch is this. The catch is this. If the plastic material that you are using is composed of a multi-layer composite,
Yes,
that is aluminum and poly layers, then it is virtually impossible to separate those layers because they need to be processed differently. The conditions for processing the alu or the PET or the OPP is completely different. So therefore, this has to be addressed in two sets. One, how do you set up the reverse logistics? That's the first part. But the second question to ask is, can you move away from multi-layer plastic packaging and sachets to single-layer plastic packaging and sachets? What is the impact? The reason people went to multi-layer plastic packaging is because they wanted long shelf life. And if you want a shelf life of 2 years, then you have to use aluminum foil to be an oxygen barrier, to be a moisture barrier. Then you use the plastic to give you the machinability and the flexibility and the printing. So you have to use a composite. And this was yesterday's reality. But today, with modern kind of information systems, technologies available to control your supply chain, to forecast demand, to anticipate demand, to produce just in time, you have to ask, why do I need to have 2 years shelf life? Can I manage with a shelf life that is only 6 months?
Yeah.
And if you can, then you can, in the composite, you can remove the alu foil. We did this with the case of Milo sachet. We were able to reduce the shelf life from 2 years down to 6 months. We took out the alu foil. So therefore, it was single layer and easy to reprocess. In this process, we saved cost, which is good. But also it made the whole reprocessability simpler. So today, one low-hanging fruit for companies is to redesign your packaging and redesign your whole supply chain so that you can have reverse logistics where you can reprocess the product. Yeah. So redesign value chain, redesign packaging, and set up reverse supply chain. So 3 steps. Then one more thing that people have to do is to ask the question, why do I need the packaging material at all?
Kita pernah angkat di tayangan landfill sebetulnya. Di Jerman itu boleh naikin penjualan, tapi jumlah kemasannya harus turun. Akhirnya consumer goods company yang menghasilkan consumer goods untuk makanan yang dikonsumsi manusia mendorongnya ke sini, refill station. Nah, itu sudah diangkat di tayangan 22 oleh narasumber kita Profesor Nandu The Rise of Naked Store. Itu memang tumbuhnya di Eropa sama di Amerika.
Today already in the US, in Europe, you see the rise of what they call naked stores. Yeah, maksudnya naked stores dalam ini, there is the product without any packaging. So you go in and you buy the product, but not the packaging. So, for example, why can you have a system that you take your own bottle to the retail store and you fill it with cooking oil? Take your own bottle, you fill it with shampoo, or take your own box and you fill it with coffee or milk powder or something. So these companies have to innovate and work in partnership with the retailers to see if they can create dispensing mechanisms whereby you can completely remove the packaging. Of course, this comes with challenges. How do you prevent counterfeit? How do you present your brand, protect your brand? How do you ensure that the quality is intact at the point of dispensation up to the point of consumption? Because once the consumer has got the product with no packaging material, then she has to understand that you have to consume it within maybe 10 weeks of purchase, no more. And you have to keep it in a cold place, a cool place where there are no insects and there is less chance of contamination. So it calls for a lot of re-education. It is possible, It starts with the business owning scope 1 and scope 2. And then for scope 3, sustainability by design. With all these steps I outlined, where you work with the consumers to change their behavior, to create a value chain that is sustainable by design.
Ya.
Setuju nggak?
Together we can change the world.